particular athlete or a particular obstacle, by all
you just
means,
tell me when we're on.
Oh, we'll be on here any second. All right, we're ready. We're ready for our second participant, Jim Martinson. Right now I'm being joined by Jody Shiflett, in charge of the course. Jody, it's great to have you here with us.
Yeah, thanks. I'm sorry I missed that first run. I had to do some administrative things. We had to readjust the course. I know that Ron Smith was a very good person to go first because he's a past winner of this event. And it's very hard going first. He sets the bar very high. And I'm looking forward to the return of one of our older veterans, Jim Martinson, who should do very well in this event as well.
Ronald Smith finished with a final time of 4:37.29. So we're getting ready here for Jim Martinson. In Class 5 in the slalom yesterday, he finished with the best time, 2:39.11. This is coming from a guy who hasn't even competed in the slalom for 30 years. And Martinson's off. Quickly over the metal rungs and on over to the rough terrain. Seems to be having no trouble here. Just a little bit there at the end, but he's got it. Jody, I noticed more doors added to the Slalom Super G. Just the one set of doors yesterday makes it tough. I imagine this has got to be 10 times harder.
Right, and you know, more is better in this case. That's why they call it the Super G. This is a long course. It may be one of the longest ones we've created, but the space allowed for it, and also the veterans were asking for it.
Martinson now going through the second set of doors. Got to be very careful. If any one of those cones falls off, it's a 5-second penalty. It's actually 5 seconds for each cone that falls off.
Right, those cones are up there pretty solid, but the veterans can't assume that, so they'll shut that door rather gingerly.
Let's go, Jim!
Coming up to the half door, which you cannot open, by the way, and this sand pit, which with thin tires such as Jim is using, is a little more difficult.
Those tires are spinning for Jim Martinson. He's got to work his way through the rocks, through the chains, and up and over.
Yeah, Jim's chair is rather small in its width, which gives him an added advantage on the course, and he's very strong.
So Martinson up and over the steps, now going backwards through that small area. He's got to make a complete 360 on top of that platform. Spinning around, nearly clipping one of his spotters that time.
Yeah, the course being the length that it is, actually that may not be a penalty of 5 seconds because he righted himself. He was touched by the spotter, but he didn't seem to gain any advantage by that physical contact.
It's really up to the official's judgment whether or not that physical contact would count as a penalty. We'll have to see what they count it as at the end of his run. He's made it to the sled. He's pulling himself forward towards that UPS truck.
Yeah, with a lot of vigor there.
Very, very quickly that time.
Now, this, as I said, this is one of the longest courses that we've created. It may show in his finesse while he's out there. He may make some rather untimely mistakes that would hurt him in his time, but we'll see. I don't know if we've gotten a cutoff time or a halfway point time to see how these athletes compare with one another. We might want to look to do that in the ensuing as the other athletes come across the start line.
Now over to the uneven ramps. He makes it over. His wheels slip very near the end.
Yeah, he's going to have to go back and execute that because he fell off of the obstacle before completely executing it. Now, Jim went in at the rear of the obstacle. He could have optioned to go around the obstacle to the front of it instead. But that's a personal choice that the athlete makes.
Will that matter at all in the time factored at the end?
Well, he won't be penalized any time, but he lost a lot of time there, and that's one of the things I was speaking about, the length of this course. That was just a mental error, really. He has the skills that would have kept him from allowing that to happen to him.
Martinson now backwards going through those slalom cones.
Yeah, this is one of them that it really shows how well the individual athlete's chair skills are. Going backwards is very difficult, and we set the cones far enough apart where they can, if they're able to, generate a lot of speed going backwards, which is even more difficult to control.
Martinson now up and over the ramp, a couple of stairs to the top and a few to the bottom. He stays up. Once again reaches the decapitator. He's got to lean down, make sure his head gets underneath that board. Meanwhile, he's got to go over that mattress. He makes it through. Up and over a couple of ramps. Now going over into the far corner. Backwards up and over that one. He's got to push hard, go up that steep incline. Still working hard. We saw Ron Smith put a lot of effort into it. Same with Jim Martinson. He reaches the American flag.
And we got to remember that this event.
Well, the crowd, there it is. The crowd is wanting Jim Martinson to salute the flag.
Yes,
he forgot it for a
salute.
second.
There he goes.
Turns
Very
around
good.
and honors the American flag.
Yeah, you'd hate for the run not to count because of that simple mistake.
Jim Martinson crosses the finish line. He turned around, made sure to salute that flag. He finishes the Slalom Super G.
Right. That goes back to that fatigue factor. I'm sure he planned on saluting, and he thought about saluting until that last moment.